Hello, and welcome back to our final improvement roulette in April. So, this might be one of our last live streams for the series, but we are going to keep doing these. So, if you're in our group, in our Lean Six Sigma Newbies group, you'll probably continue to see these types of live streams where we do these deep dives into some of the most common business improvement tools. So today we selected as a business improvement tool a day in the life observation, and we said we were going to take a look at a bookstore. I'm Amanda Zimmerman. I am a Lean Six Sigma Master Black Belt, and I've been helping businesses all over the world make their processes better for the last decade. So I'm super excited to be able to bring these things to you. I think in our series so far, we've probably had maybe 2 hours of content that we shared, kind of giving you a bit of a mini white belt with a little bit of yellow belt and green belt sprinkled in. So today's topic is a day in the life observation. Now, a day in the life observation really means a day in the life. It means that you select a position within the process that you want to improve. You go and you monitor that position from the start of the day to the end of the day. So when the employee gets there at the beginning of the day, you should be there. When they go home at the end of the day, they should be there. When you go to lunch at the same time they do, right? This is where you are going to unlock so much information about your employee's day, about your team's day, about whatever department that you are trying to find out more information on. This is where you are going to unlock that value. It's also a place where you can build relationships. Now, in Lean Six Sigma or continuous improvement, this is absolutely essential for you to gain the trust of the people that you're working with. Because I guarantee you, the person doing the work each and every day that spends 40 to 60 hours a week doing nothing but that activity, they are going to have way better ideas about how to improve it and make it perfect than you are. So if you are going in, whether it's your own business, I'm sure if it was your business, you wouldn't want somebody to just come in and tell you what to do, right? No, the same if you have a team, if you have a big organization, you don't want someone to just come in and tell you what to do. So you don't want to make that mistake. You don't want to be that person. And the day in the life observation helps you to build that relationship, that team, so that it's not just you pushing this improvement, but it's you working as a team with that person to find out what the best solution is. So I do have a form here that I'm not going to share it the whole time, but I'll share it here just for a minute so that you can take a look at it. This is what I would print out if I was going to go do some observations. I would print out maybe 10 of these just to have in my notebook. Now you can all delete the information in these spots here if you're going to print it out so that you can handwrite it in, because you are going to handwrite on this sheet. So you would what you want to make sure that you capture when you go out to this, do this observation is you want to make sure that you capture the task. You want to make sure that you capture the time. So whether it's the start time, the end time, or the cycle time, whatever that is, you decide, you make it your own, value or non-value added. So this can be a great spot for you to not just put down non-value added, but put down the downtime or Tim Woods waste. Is it a defect? Were they reworking something, right? This is where you can get so much information. Now, I always print these out so that they're one-sided because I tend to take a lot of notes on the backside, and I might even do like a check sheet or something on the backside so that I can use it that way. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing so that we can continue talking about doing the observation. All right, so as I said, what you're going to do is the beginning of the day, you're going to start with that person and you're going to stick with them throughout the day. Now, when I did my first day in the life observation, I was working at an oil field in California. And I asked a supervisor or a pusher, hey, can I come out and observe your rig? Can I go out, and spend the whole day with your team? He was like, I can meet you at the office and we can chat. And I was like, no. I'm coming to your work site. And so I drove out to this Taft oil field in the fog, through these little hills, trying to find this pumping unit in my Prius. That is what I did on my first day in the life observation. At 5 a.m., I was driving through the oil fields in a Prius trying to find the group that I was going to observe. And I did. And I will tell you, when I first got there, they were not excited to see me. They don't want somebody to come in and just say, this is what we want to change. You're going to do this, da 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 da. But that's not the way that I approach it. When you go and you do this day in the life observation, you are a guest. You are a guest to the people that are doing the work. Your intent there is to just observe what really happens. So you don't want to have a lot of influence over, I'm here, so now maybe you're going to work differently. No, no, no. You want to do as much as possible, just a general observation. I usually don't give a lot of information in terms of why I'm there. I might say, hey, we're working on a project to improve, for this case, the rigs, upper, setup procedure or tear down procedures. And so we just wanted to sit out here and see what that involves. Maybe just something simple like that to say, hey, we're out here just to see what your work looks like. What does your day look like? What are the challenges that you have? Now, generally for the first few hours, I hang back and I just observe. Throughout the day, you'll get more and more questions. And throughout the day, I let more and more answers out. Now, I never in this day offer solutions. Never in the day do I say, let's fix this, let's fix that, because I'm doing the observation, so I don't want to change anything. I want to see this as my baseline. Now, if you're doing this afterwards, if you're doing this as your improvement, again, you want to see if your improvements have an impact. So you don't want to change anything. You're just there to observe. So what I usually do is around lunchtime. So before that, in the morning, have a couple hours where you're not really chatting, you're just doing some observation. Maybe the first break, offer that team a question. And the question that I usually ask them in the morning, it might be two different things. So sometimes I ask them, what makes you excited to come to work every day? Sometimes that's a lunchtime question, sometimes that's in the morning. What makes you excited to come to work every day? And that's an absolutely transformational question, because people have different reactions, and then you can understand what about their workday really makes them excited to show up. Right? How can you connect them to the value of their customer and to that thing that they see as value? Right? So the more you can unlock that knowledge, the better you can design improvements and projects that are going to sustain, that are going to stay even after you leave. Now, that's not the question I was going to mention, though. What I ask them is there anything that you would want to improve? Do you have any ideas for improvement? And in the morning, they will tell you, no, not really. I don't really care. And that's fine. That's fine. They don't have any ideas. They don't want to share them. No worries. No worries. But as the day goes on, that person is thinking about that, and they will come back to you with every idea that they've ever had to improve that job, right? So they'll come back to you through the day to say, hey, I saw a competitor doing this. Or, hey, my friend over here, he does this, and it's so much better, right? So this day in the life observation is a chance for you to get those relationships built and to get all those ideas, because now you have those ideas that you could then take to management and maybe make improvements off of, and that person can feel like they own that, so they're going to sustain that. They're going to tell all of their buddies and their friends about it. Okay, so next in the observation, we are going to have the afternoon, right? Usually you have you have the morning that you spend with someone in the second half of their shift. Okay, in the second half of the shift, what I usually do is I drop the downtime wastes. So there's usually a break or a lunch where we're having a more personal conversation. And in that, I can often say, yeah, I do Lean Six Sigma. What it is simplifying and perfecting our processes. Some of the things I look for are like downtime waste, like defects or waiting or motion, right? So now that person is not just thinking about what improvement ideas they have, but now they know how to identify waste. So the afternoon they spend thinking about, how can I make this a little bit better? Now, I said we were going to give the example of a bookstore, and I've been terrible about that because I haven't even talked about a bookstore yet. So let's talk about a bookstore. Let's say you have a franchise of bookstores, you have a few of them, and you see that one of your stores is performing completely different than the others. And you can't really put your finger on it. You've maybe watched some of the footage or you've talked to the manager, and there's nothing that sticks out to you that says this bookstore should be different than others. And so you decide then to do a day in the life observation. So you choose maybe your senior most employee or your newest employee, depending on what you think is having the biggest impact. And you go and you start the day with that employee. You sit through the day and you gather this information that we talked about in this sheet, right? What task they're doing, how long it's taking, is it value or non-value added, any kind of comments or other details that you want to share or note down. So you're going to take these notes, right? And as you do that throughout your day, you are going to be getting all kinds of fantastic information. And you're going to be learning all kinds of things that you never would have thought or realized. So let's say with this bookstore, you do this observation, and throughout the day, you're getting these little tidbits from the employee of things that they're doing differently. And what you find out is that this employee and this team at that bookstore has a really deep community connection. So when people come in, they know that person's name, which means that person comes in more frequently. The other thing that you notice is that the spend per customer is higher. So people are actually spending more per each person that comes in. We're spending, instead of maybe $10 a person, maybe $20 or $40 or $60 a person. So that's higher because they've managed this relationship. And let's say as well, what you observe is that the manager and the team there are actually ordering books that they know their most frequent customers will love. So they've kind of catered the store to this community. They've also created sections that have like themes that are a bit more fun than the other stores. So there's like frequent changes to these different sections of the bookstore that people can get excited about, maybe in relationship to holidays or maybe local things that are happening. So you find out that this community connection becomes so important for this one store and why they're actually unlocking this extra value. So what you can do then is take that information and decide how you can introduce that to your other stores. So that's one example using the bookstore. Now, that's a day in the life observation, is going out and spending this full day with your team. It's an absolutely fantastic way to find out information you never would have thought. For me, one of the most interesting things that I saw was somebody that had to scroll sideways and down every time he looked at his work order. Every time he looked at his work order. And I just, on the side of this form, just like this form that I have for you, I just put a little check each time that he clicked to do that. What we figured out was that was a typical day, that he had spent a week and a half every year clicking. A week and a half just clicking. If one click is 1 second, oh my gosh. So the cost of him getting a new monitor was like nothing, because it saved them a week and a half of his time that they were spending. So there's things like that that you're going to find when you do these observations that you would have never thought of. Now, yesterday I got my second, or a few days ago, I got my second COVID shot, which I feel very privileged and lucky to have received. But unfortunately, it put me a little under the weather yesterday. So this is our final tally. So tonight I'm talking to Kaylee, if you've seen that post at all, in a social media group about experimentation. And the safety cross, something like this, is just so easy for us to use as we experiment, because we're able to really think about our progress day to day. So not to get so down about missing a day. It was too bad that I missed yesterday, but it's okay. It's okay, because today is a new day. And if you look overall at my performance, I've done pretty good. Let's see, I've missed 4.5 days out of the month of April. I have live streamed almost every single day this month to bring value to you. Now, these live streams won't stay up forever, so please make sure that you go ahead and you access them now, or you sign up for our Lean Six Sigma free templates and tutorials, because those are where a lot of these are going to be housed. That way, when you think about, hey, I need a day in the life observation, you can just go and get this sheet. You don't have to redesign it yourself, and you get a little tutorial to remind you of the things to do when you do that activity. It's been absolutely wonderful being able to chat with you every day this month, and I look forward to our events next month where we continue to give you value. We continue to try to make it easier for you to use these tools to go out and improve a little bit each and every day so that you and your teams don't have to work so hard.